It's Claire Rogers from Itopia Coaching. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you very much for tuning back in. So this week I want to talk about motivation, and in particular I want to talk about what causes lack of motivation. And the reason why I want to talk about this is because in addition to being a coach, I'm also a keynote speaker. And when I go to events and I give my keynote speech, inevitably I end up talking to several hundred people afterwards. And I'm noticing a common theme. Quite often people will tell me that they are stuck and in a rut, and they will proceed to tell me what is challenging them in life. But when I start talking about some of the suggestions of how to get out of the rut, I can kind of see them close down. And a few people, well, actually quite a few people along the way have said to me, it seems like just too much hard work to actually get out of that rut. So I've been kind of thinking about this, why is it that some people are satisfied to stay the same knowing they're unhappy rather than to put into the hard work? So I've been doing some research and I want to kind of share some tips and tricks to get out of that feeling of not being motivated. I think one of the problems is unfortunately in society, we seem to be addicted to instant gratification. We seem to be bombarded, especially in social media, with instant quick fixes. And, how many times do you see people say, just change your mindset? You know what? I've been a coach for several years now, and I still haven't found that little button that you find somewhere in your brain that just switches your mindset. It takes a lot of hard work. And I think, unfortunately, people are looking for that quick fix and that magic pill that is just not available. And so they are not understanding that it is going to take work to get out of a rut. The other problem is that unfortunately sometimes we can find ourselves stuck in a rut for a really long time. It could be months, it could be years. And so we are stagnating in life. And so we can't envision another way because we're used to what we know. So this is where I'm going to come in and I want to give you some tips so that if you are feeling really stuck and you just don't even know where to even find the motivation or to even understand what is kind of stopping you from getting motivated to make changes in your life, I want you to grab a pen and a piece of paper and I want you to make a list for me. And the list I want you to make is, what are you tolerating in life? Things that you could be tolerating are things like obligations, things that you say yes to, what really you may know and you don't want to do these things. It could be a work environment. It could be a coworker, a colleague. It could be a boss that you don't get along with. It could be your home environment. Things are not working well at home. It could be things that are broken and need to be fixed in your home. It could be a cluttered office, a cluttered house. It could be a lack of exercise. It could be a poor diet, poor sleeping patterns. Make a list for me of all of the things that you feel as though you are tolerating in life. And now I want you to, once you've made that list, and I want you to do a really deep dive. I don't want you to do it in just 2 minutes. I want you to write down everything that you feel as though you're tolerating and you're not happy with in life. And now next to that list, I want you to write down why you are tolerating these things. Okay, so now that you've done that, I want you to look at your list and I want you to circle all of the things that you're tolerating that you don't technically need to tolerate. So you don't need to tolerate a messy house. You don't need to tolerate a cluttered office. You don't need to tolerate spending time with someone who is an energy vampire and sucks your energy dry. Um, you don't need to tolerate a poor diet. You don't need to tolerate a poor exercise regime, for example. I want you to look at that list and circle all of the things that you're tolerating that you don't need to tolerate. Okay, so now I want you to look at the list and be very honest with yourself and write down where your excuses are. Who are you blaming? What are your excuses for tolerating certain things that are prohibiting you from making changes? And I want you to ask yourself, how is it serving you to have these tolerations in your life? How is it serving you to have these excuses? So I'm going to answer the question for you now. So any tolerations on that list are giving you an excuse and justification to stay the same, to stagnate, and to be stuck in a rut. And that is where your lack of motivation can be found. It's in your excuses. And this is something that I've learned in my coaching practice is that when you lose your excuses, you find your results, you find your motivation. Now, I would probably bet that somewhere on that piece of paper or somewhere in your thoughts, you're thinking that you don't have time. You don't have time to try and get out of a rut. You don't have time to get rid of the things that you're tolerating. But here's the thing. I think when people say they don't have time, it's really a way of saying, I can't be bothered or I won't make it a priority. I'm not saying that we're not busy people. Everybody's really busy. But I look at some people, they've got a few kids, they might have a couple of jobs, but they still seem to find the time to live a happy, fulfilling, meaningful life where they're not stuck in a rut. So I want you to think about time. Have you written anywhere on your paper that you don't have time to exercise, or you don't have time to look for a new career or make career moves or go back to school? I want you to find out where are your excuses and your justifications. And once you do that, you'll understand where the lack of motivation is coming in. Now I want you to ask yourself the question, is the pain of staying the same? Is the pain of being stuck in a rut and stagnating in life or feeling like you're spiraling out of control, is it worth it? Is it worth the excuses and the justifications? I'm hoping that you're going to say it's not worth it and that you do want to get out of that rut and you want to find your motivation. So this is a really huge comprehensive subject, and I read recently that the average person can only watch a video for 10 minutes at a time before they get bored. So I'm going to have to break up this subject into a few different videos. So I'm going to leave it at that for now. Next week, I will be talking about how you develop motivation. Now that you've understood what is causing the lack of motivation, I will do a video next week to help you develop motivation to build your dreams going forward. I hope this video was really helpful. As always, please give me feedback or leave a message below. Thank you.